Oh, this is Mr. Hornsby 83 with the Mr. Hornsby 83 review of Gravity Falls. I did not do it last night because I had just done the review of Deadpool, so I'm doing it tonight. Gravity Falls, Weirdmegden Part 3, Take Back the Falls. I've seen a lot of season finale or series finales or finales period to freaking cartoons. And I've seen a lot of good ones and I've seen a lot of bad ones, and Gravity Falls falls in the good category. Now, we didn't get a couple things that were promised by Alex Hurst, but we did get a good, epic ending for the show. So it picks up where Weirdmegden 2 left off, where they all enter the shack, and then you see Stan and Pacifica and all them, they're all in there trying to keep safe from Bill and them. And then they start talking about it, and Dipper and Mabel, and then Hernandez, or whatever her name is, she sits there and is doing a television because Stan says, oh, they're all probably fine. And then he accidentally hits the remote and the TV comes on, and then you see Hernandez get turned into a statue, and then the rest of the characters see their family members and their friends and that stuck in the throne of Bill that was made out of human people. And so then Dipper and Mabel talk about we need to stand up against Bill, we need to stop him, and Stan, and everybody's like, yeah, and then Stan's like, no, because we're safe here, we can't take the shack to him, and then McGucket comes up with an idea to make the shack, give it legs and that, and turn it into a robot, which they do, and Stan still isn't happy because they're going to save Ford, and he's upset with Ford because after he saved Ford from the portal, Ford never thanked him, and Ford finally thanks him, which we'll get to later in the episode, actually probably here in a few minutes. But so then they go to save him. They take on the henchmaniacs of Bill. Bill was talking to Ford about figuring out how to get out of the bubble, which turns out it was a kind of rule of weirdness that was keeping Bill and his minions in Gravity Falls. That's why they couldn't get out. Ford said he knew how to get it, and Bill's trying to figure out how to get it out of him, and Ford won't tell him, and then, he's blasted Ford, and then we get the battle between the surviving people of town, and we get the henchmaniacs. They pretty much take out all the henchmaniacs, then Bill comes out, because finds out that Ford actually cares about Dipper and Mabel, and he says, I'll just go out and take care of them. Turns Ford back into gold, and then he starts fighting the shack, but he, because of last Mabel Corn episode, they did something with unicorn hair and that to keep Bill's weirdness from affecting the mystery shack, which I'm surprised Bill didn't remember that from, it was only like a few episodes back, but, so, the battle, they pull out, Bill's attacking it, and then eventually they start hitting him, then they pull out his eye, and then they all go in to figure out how to free everybody, and then Gideon tells them how, and then Gideon and everybody else gets freed, and then Dipper talks to Ford about the other way of beating Bill, and Ford explains how he read up on the wheel that contained Bill, I forgot what it was called, hexagon or something like that. Might be mispronouncing it. But, so, he starts spraying from the spray can that fell out of Robbie's hoodie. He starts spraying around, and he says, this is how, and then Pacific is like, how? Play the most complicated game of hopscotch? He's like, no, it's a polygraph or a hexagon or something like that. I forgot what they called it. And he's like, but it would be a fun game of hopscotch. It was pretty funny. And then he figures out what all the symbols stand for, so that's what the wheel was all about, and like the little picture of Bill at the end of every single episode since the show's aired. find out which characters symbolize it. Like Robbie symbolized the heart. Wendy symbolized the ice pack. Dipper symbolized the pine tree. Mabel the star. Pacifica the llama. And Stan the little thing that was on his hat. McGucket was the spectacles. Gideon, I forgot what he was. So then they were going to do it, and then Ford was saying, the only one left to help save us. Oh yeah, Zeus was the question mark. The only one left to help us is you. And Stan didn't want to. He said he wants, Ford to thank him. And then Ford thanks him and apologizes for basically being a jerk to him since he's been back on Earth. So Stan accepts it. Then he's telling Sue something. And then, Ford corrects him on his grammar and he gets mad and they start fighting. And then finally Bill regenerates. He tore apart the mystery shack from like the bottom leg, which I guess that wasn't protected by the glittery stuff that sealed it. And as they're fighting, you see the shadow pop up, and then you hear Bill say, "Oh no, it's Bill." That's what you all were gonna say, right? He's like, "Gideon, why aren't you dancing? Hop, 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 hop," or something like that, or I forgot. Get to it or something. But then it went on commercial, and it came back, and Bill traps all the other people that were the symbols that could destroy him. He destroys the little hexagon thing or whatever, and he turns the rest of them into like little flags, like Gideon and Wendy and Robbie and everybody else, and he leaves the Pines family left. And Dipper and Mabel, he captures them, but they get out because Mabel sprays him in the eye with some spray can. And he's complaining because he's like, "I just regenerated this eye." And then Dipper used the growth flashlight that he used in the episode Little Dipper. They get out of the caves that Bill put around them. And they tell Ford and Stan to leave because they can handle Bill, and they beat him before and they'll beat him again. And Ford and Stan saying, "No, that's a suicide witch." And then Bill decides to lock Ford and Stan in the cage and chase after Dipper and Mabel. They say he was going to kill them, which he was about to. And Stan and Ford are talking about a way to stop him. And, this next part I want to talk about is kind of contradictory of what he said in the last Mabel Corn episode about the metal plate. He got it put in his head to keep Bill out of his head. But yet, he was telling Bill, all you had to do is shake my hand to get back in my head, and I'm not going to shake your hand. And, so him and Stan are talking. They finally make up after all the time since Ford's been on the show. And then I guess they came up with a plan while Bill was chasing Mabel and Dipper, and Mabel and Dipper get cornered. They were going to jump out of the pyramid to get the rest of the town people to try to take down Bill, but his hedge maniac was back and had all the other people that was on the ground, and they said either surrender or we're going to kill, or y'all are going to die or something like that. And so Teeth eats, I think, one of the gnomes, which I think was Schmebelock. But then, we'll talk about that in a minute too. But then Bill pops up behind Dipper and Mabel, gets them, and says, "Ford," he say we go kill one of them just for the heck of it. And then Ford stops him and says he'll make the deal with Bill. And Bill, shakes his hand and goes in the head, and he's talking about, "Geez, Ford, you could clear your head," or something like that. But then when he opens the door, it was Stan's mind, because while he was chasing the kids, Stan and Ford changed jackets in that, and Ford put on the hat of Stan to trick Bill so they could erase him with the thing from the Blind Eye Society, the memory eraser. And Bill, then Stan was about to lose his memory, but he grabs a picture of Mabel, Dipper, and Waddles and him. And, he says, "I guess I was good for something after all." So, in a way, I guess, which I'll talk about in a minute. But Stan lost his memory. You know, they're all trying to talk to him, but he don't remember who any of them are. You know, they're all upset. It's a pretty sad moment. Then they take him back to Mystery Shack, which was in shambles. And he sits on the chair, and Mabel's trying to find a way to get him to jog his memory. So she grabs a scrapbook, starts showing him, and then Waddles jumps up on him, licks him, and his hatred for Waddles is what snapped him, brought his memory back, because he said, "Get Waddles off of me." And then, you know, Zeus, like, then Ford's telling Mabel to show him more, and Zeus is like, "Show him a picture of me and him so that he can realize our boss, co-worker relationship." He's like, "Zeus, just because I lost my memory don't mean you're getting a raise." And then he finally got his whole memory back, which, you know, was good because, you know, I have to say Stan was my favorite character on the show. He was just hilarious. Kind of reminds me of another character off another show, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But then it's at the point where everybody's throwing a party for Mabel. The news lady's talking about how Stan got his memory back, how McGucket's now rich, how the Northwest family lost their mansion because of Pacifica's dad pledging allegiance to Bill and putting all his bonds in weird stock bonds or something like that. And McGucket gets a new place, and then everybody's there, you know, Gideon and all them, and Gideon's talking about, "You've opened my heart. I'm no longer going to be good. I'm just going to be ordinary kid Gideon." But then you see him on a skateboard, and some kid comes past, makes fun of him, and he sticks ghost eyes and one of his other henchmen on him to beat him up. It was pretty funny. And then, you know, all the teams they hung out with, which was Wendy's friends, because Dipper and Mabel wanted to hang with Wendy, with her friends, and plus because of Dipper's crush on Wendy. But then after that, they talk about how they're happy to have all these friends, and how they wish they could bring everybody. And then Ford talks to Stan about going on the trip they had planned when they were kids, but because of everything that went on with, you know, the experiment getting messed up, and, you know, Stan and Ford ended up hating each other, and they just got close in Weirdmegden 3. Then pretty much after that, they're all saying bye to him, and, you know, Waddles comes up, and Mabel's sad because she can't take him home. And Stan, he's like, "I had to live with this pig all summer." And then, like, he goes up, he says, "This pig's going with these kids." And the bus driver's like, "Oh, no animals allowed." And then, like, Stan has his brass knucks, and Ford shows off his little gun. And the guy says, "Okay, you can sit in front, pig." And, you know, Wendy gave Dipper her hat, and she took Dipper's hat. So, I don't know, maybe when they get older, maybe when they're, like, both considered adults, maybe Dipper might have his chance then with Wendy. But, I honestly thought they were going to start something with the love story with him and Pacifica, but that didn't happen. But, it was after the Northwest Mansion mystery. But, then they're riding the bus, and, pretty much that was it. And then the credits pop up, you know, well, actually, before the credits pop up, Dipper's remembering everybody, and it shows that Ford and Stan are on their trip, taking on weird anomalies in the ocean now. Zeus running the Mystery Shack, which, you know, he unveiled a statue of Stan, and all the kids took off running because of the episode with the love guy, where he was trying to make a sign to where it says, "I heart kids," but the H and the freaking R fell off, so it said, "I eat kids." And so the kids are scared to stand. Melody was running the shack with Zeus, so it's good to see that, you know, they pretty much evolved almost all the characters. Then, you know, finally, you know, it comes down to the credits, and then after the credits go off, you see the thing where Bill is, and it's like kind of making a wave goodbye motion. So I don't know if that means Bill's still alive or what, because he did say he controls time. So I don't know. Kind of weird. And one thing that surprised me about the episode was You know, we did not see any repercussions from the time police because Glendon did survive. We didn't see him play a part, which I thought he would play a major part to take down Bill since Bill took over his body and that, but that didn't happen. I thought Time Baby would probably revive himself somehow and freaking come back and take Bill down this time. But, yeah, none of that happened, and, you know, with the trailer, they kind of advertised, it looked like Dipper was going to die. It also looked like Ford was going to die because when you seen that first trailer, you seen Dipper's hat floating. And then not too long after that, you see a light shining behind Mabel. And, you know, usually light symbolizes someone died, and that's someone saying, oh, everything's going to be alright. You'll be okay. And then with Ford, when he looks like he's in the galaxy, and that was just something Bill was trying to offer him so that he could, so that he would tell him the secrets, but Ford wouldn't give in. But overall, we give this episode a 5 out of 5. Good episode. Contradictory stuff, like with Ford, you know, saying, you know, in the last Mabel Corrin episode that he put the metal plate in his head so Bill couldn't get back in his head, but Bill would still be able to get into his head if he would shook his hand. So that was kind of contradictory. The death, and in a way, I guess you could say Stan kind of died because he lost his memories, and then he got revived, like, you know. So I guess you could say it was kind of a metaphor for something like, you know, the Phoenix dies and then it arises or whatever. But yeah, 5 out of 5. Very great finale to a show. Well, a cartoon show anyway. I mean, I did like the Phineas and Ferb Summer Vacation. Well, the Phineas and Ferb Final Days of Summer episode 2. And I've watched a lot of TV shows, like Sons of Anarchy and Burnos and that has some great endings. But that'll do it. About to do another video here in a few seconds. If you like this video, leave a comment. Subscribe. Follow me on my Facebook fan page, Mr. Hornby83 Topics. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Hornby83. And until this video's ready, peace out.